Hello, friendly neighborhood nerds. If you want to hear interviews from industry pros, get first looks, and have access to endless comic content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell!
What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? This is Judah Rad, and I'm here with Robo Strange and Respawn. Today we have a very, very, very special guest. She is a seasoned illustrator. She's worked with publishers as big as Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, Valiant, Dynamite, Vertigo, and Boom. And currently she is illustrating... Yep, all of them. Currently she's illustrating Die with Kieron Gillen. Stephanie Hans, thank you so much for being here.
Woo! Hey. Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you. So, what has your experience been like working on Die so far?
Wow, it's very tiring.
Okay.
Once I was in a convention and there was a panel and everybody was asking questions and everything. And then comes the question, what's your favorite moment when you're illustrating your book? And everybody, they were all very serious authors, and they all had like sketching, whatever. And then I was like, I like it when I'm done.
Done.
Yeah. The idea of doing it, and I like when I'm finished. But everything in between is pain.
Yeah,
I bet.
Yeah. So
that explains why the art's so good, though. Right?
Yeah, it's painful.
That's it.
But yeah, it's something. It's my first ongoing, of course. I've been thinking about doing one for a long time with Kieron specifically because we get along. So we've been thinking about doing a book. I think we started talking about it like as early as 2013, and after a journey into history, and it was just coming back, and maybe every New York Comic Convention we would talk about it, and after a few years we realized that we were both fantasy authors, frustrated fantasy authors, or undercover fantasy authors, so after a while we decided that would be our thing.
Nice.
And so it's extremely satisfying to go deep into something that I have a deep love for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really tiring.
I bet.
And especially since it's also changed my life totally, in the sense of when Kieron came to me with the idea of the project. I was actually a digital nomad. I didn't have an apartment. I was just traveling around with a very, very big luggage and a very heavy carry-on too, because there was my computer and my iPad and my cameras, like two cameras. That was the thing. And I was like, okay, I will need to find an apartment. And so it really changed the core of my life. Like now, especially with the coronavirus, I've been home for 8 months straight, and it's the longest time I've ever stayed somewhere for maybe 5 years. This year. But I work very well. It's tiring.
Yeah. That's so cool. I had no idea that was your lifestyle. I always have a lot of respect for people that, because I think the three of us are the same in that we just need to have the same bed every night. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so mad respect. That's cool. I want to know, you and Kieron obviously get along, and we've had him on the show before, and he's such a pleasure to chat to. Do you have much influence over the story of Die? Like, do you collaborate on the actual story elements with Kieron?
I collaborate, but not in the sense that you might think. When we decided to work on Die, he sent me a first idea, and then I went to Great Britain and spent 2 weeks at his place. And it was really funny because we were talking about, it was not specifically about the project, but he had this small notebook in which he was noting like everything I was telling about what that would be relevant for history of dye. There are things in dye that are like specifically from like Isabelle, for example, is straight out of my life because my best friend is called Christelle and she's adopted Korean. And yeah,
Cool.
it's well, I might come back to it later, but there are a few things like this, like when we were designing Dominic, and you know, when I was a teenager, when I was in high school, and I was in a art high school, then something. The fashion for artist students at the moment was to be like some kind of metalhead with like the the battle jacket with the Iron Maiden print on the back and with the art folder with all the stickers in it. And so this is what I offered to Kieron. It's like, I would never have offered to do that kind of character because it was too close to home. And and so there are things, but my contributions are mostly visual. That it might happen that sometimes I think about things, and when it's the case, I will more ask questions if I think that's something. But Kieron is the master of the words. I do the arm jobs or something.
Nice.
Heavy lifting.
Now you
Yeah.
said that you had that you wanted to do this book together because you had already known that you got along. How did you first meet Kieron? Like, how did you guys link up at all at the start?
I had been working with him for a while on Journey into Mystery. It was my first ongoing job for Marvel, and it happened that Kieron was working on this one too. And contrary, most jobs I have had in the comic book industry, I had some glimpse of the script with Kieron, which was something because usually you never get them. It depends on the editor you're working with, but either they want something that like if you do variants. Like most of the time you do those kind of very lunchbox shots, they're like very iconic, or they already have an idea too, where they want to push it, and sometimes you work with them, sometimes you work a bit more against them, but in the end everybody needs to be happy.
Yeah.
But with Journey into Mystery, they were sending me at least the pitch of the issue. So each time I had time to extrapolate, which is, if I do cover art, is what I like to do the most. I like to do kind of puzzle with an image, like putting all the answers like straight on the cover, and you only realize it when you read the book, which is definitely what I do with the covers of Die, because basically there is the D20 straight on the cover.
Right.
Like it could be more in your face,
Yeah.
And so, I was actually starting to learn about Kid Loki and starting to love it, and realize that, as everyone, I loved it because it was through the eye of Kieron. And I really wanted to do the last issue. So we decided to do the last issue, I did it, and then I met him in New York. It was the first time I met him. And it was really funny because I didn't understand a word of what he told me at that moment. I couldn't tell you what he told me because his accent was just so tough. And I have an accent of my own, of course. And it was like, okay. It was like, and you put all this in the mail, right?
Yeah. Nice.
The amount of time I had to pretend that my connection was bad or the sound was bad, like, oh yeah, we'll just do it by text, right?
Yeah. That's funny.
Like, I have no idea what it's taking. So yeah, we met at this moment and we got along, but that's not the most important. The most important is how can I say? Each artist has their preferences. Same for writers. Some writers, especially if they know how to draw, they will have very sharp ideas about the sequencing. They will want this kind of angle, and they will want the panel to do like 1/4 of page. I've worked with quite a few writers now, and I've seen the scripts of several others, and this is not the way I like to work with somebody. This is not my way to work with somebody. I like to have freedom. I like to be given options and to be part of the creation. That's the way I
That makes sense.
bring something. Yes.
Yeah.
And Kieron gives me this, like, it gives me a lot of trust, and it lets me like just run wild with the pages. Like, they're not that wild, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I take decisions, and sometimes you discover them. It's like, oh yeah, okay, and that's the way. That's my real contribution of things. That I take decisions with the storytelling, and of course with the appearance of things.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever, and you don't have to name names, but have you ever almost worked for a writer, but that writer didn't give you the freedom that you wanted, and it didn't work out?
No. Well, in France, I have a bad experience with a writer who didn't trust me at all. But to be fair, it was her first job as a comic book writer. She had writer of like young adult books or maybe children books before, and literally the text she was putting in each panel was like half the panel. Like I was trying to, and there was a moment I was like, you have to trust me to express things sometimes where the words are not needed. You have to let me some space to put some. And it's like, oh yeah, but I'm not thinking about my words with images. And I was like, but this is literally what is.
This is comics.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So that was a difficult experience.
I bet.
Really made with a lot of pain. But I've read some scenarios from other writers, and I've seen some that I wouldn't have been able to work on them. Like it was very, very. I know a writer in France. He's very good, but he literally sketches the thing.
Oh,
and
it says, just draw what I tell you to draw. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Right.
Huh.
I'm not just a hand. I have a mind of my own.
There it is. Nice. I like it.
So, your style is very, very unique and eye-catching, and I think one of my favorite things is the way that you color, because a lot of times there's a huge contrast where almost like the environment is maybe like a darker, almost grayish, with very bright points of neon, like red or orange, and it directs the eye and it makes things very powerful. How did you develop that style, and what were your influences?
Well, I don't know if I could call that influences. I think what the definition of style is all the shortcuts you learn to make work faster, and that becomes style at the end.
Okay.
At first, when I started doing covers in France, when I graduated from art school, my teachers they didn't like my colors at all, so it was very, very heavy, and they were right. I didn't like to hear it, but they were right. So I was like, okay, if I need to do cover art, if I want to do cover art, I need to have a very much simpler theory with the color, And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use like a gradient of only one color, and one the contrary, like if I do like an overall bluish cover, it's gonna be red, like dense red. And this red is gonna be the thing that like leads the eye to what is important. And 2 colors, you cannot do anything wrong, you know. Like 3, like it start to be a bit risky.
Right.
And 4, like, just drop it. And 5, you can go and play in the blender. It's gonna be other thing. And you know, so I kept it simple. With that, it's really a good way to be a good communicator. You really can master the way your image talks to people.
Mhm.
And then when I started to doing interiors, what I wanted to do at that moment is when you open like a double page spread, I wanted like when you open it, there is as soon as you open it, like it's green, blue, red, like one mood, you know, which I had to drop when I started doing comics, because most of the time when you do comics interiors for like the big publishers, there are commercials inside, so you cannot know if your pages will face each other. It also changed the way I was sketching things, because I was mostly sketching in kind of mirror way, like always having the kind of same, like if I sketch the thing like vertically, it's gonna be vertical also on the other side, you know.
Wow.
So I had to drop this one, but this is where the way I color thing has been developed as a start. But after a while, I discovered a tool that's called the gradient map on Photoshop, which allows me to decide from an ambience mood for the whole page, or and then adjust things. So I will determine a mood for each sequence and put it on every page, and then add colors.
I see.
Is this something that you see other artists do a lot? Because one of the reason why I asked that is your art is, in all the best ways, extremely unique, and I think so. My first experience with you is through Dye, and so when we did the interview, typically when we interview writers, it's almost always simply about their work, and then by the way, and we love the art. But I think if we went back and saw the Kieron Gillen interview, we kind of gushed about you more than usual.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great artists out there, but there's just something about yours, and it didn't really hit me how much I loved your art until Angela. What is the one called? Was it Queen of Hell or
Hell's God.
Queen of Hell?
Yeah, Queen of Hell, and it's you did the
1602 and Queen of Hell.
Yeah, so in Queen of Hell, you did like the flashbacks, the sub-story art. And so as I'm reading it, doing my homework for this interview, actually, I'm reading through it, and I'm like, where does her art start? And I flip the page, and there's yours, and it's like, boom, and like you know it's Stephanie Hans right there. And then there's this one where she just thrusts the sword down, and all these bright colors come down, and I'm just like, she is so good. So not to gush too much, but I guess to go back to my question is like, why is everyone else not as good as you? You know, like what?
That's a fair question.
You know? All right. So, anyways,
You know, you see all the good things, I see all the bad things. You know, I always know where I'm not good. Like, you know, it's the way it is. But it's also a good thing. You know, I like to learn a lot, and I guess that's certainly why you think my art is unique, because it's a mix of a lot of traditional art, I guess. Like my background is more from most of the illustrators I have as models are very old painters, dead mostly for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, there is like a classical look to your art. Like it's like real art.
Like
and
a
I
William,
think-
like a William Blake look almost.
Yeah. So.
My main influence about, I don't know if I can say it's an influence because I'm very, very, very far, but there is this Russian painter from the 30s. It's called Billy Bean, and my art doesn't look like Billy Bean at all because it's all very beautiful line art. It's you certainly know about Muka, right? Everybody knows Muka, but Billy Bean is like, it's a bit like Muka, but with more scenes. Like if you look at his work, it's more like already comic books in a way, but very, very graceful. I cannot do line art, but like really, I'm way too chaotic for that. But I would sometimes when I do flashbacks in dye or like in the background, also the cover of the third art, I'm trying to emulate my inner Billy Bean.
Nice.
Okay.
What references do you use more often to like get? Do you use dolls, real dolls, or pictures, photos?
This is my doll.
There you go.
Nice.
It's called a super flexible doll. There's like 28 articulation points, including shoulders
Oh wow.
and the neck. Okay, it's and it's got steel skeleton, so it really stays. If you want to do like fighting stances, like taekwondo fighting stances, you can really literally do them, and it will hold, and then you will have like a little light and take a picture, and you're gonna be good.
Nice.
Amazing.
Awesome.
And you can use her as a weapon if you have intruders. Nice.
That's right. There she
Very
is.
cool.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it's good because leather is always a bit difficult, so that's good also for the reflection for me. And I have this thing which is I have this light that I use for the light reference. It's cool.
Amazing.
Ah. Wow.
Definitely don't shine that in Judah's room. We don't want to. So adding on to that question, I guess I want to know, what is your creative process like? Like, are you an artist like me that pretends that I'm going to do a thing and then lays in bed all day until the last minute and does it, or are you motivated?
I had this luxury, but it doesn't happen. Although with the lockdown, I had a lot of issues with concentration. Focusing was impossible, and it's still difficult. But it gets better, like really better. But I am by definition a procrastinator. Like I'm a very frustrated procrastinator because I cannot procrastinate. Like I wish I could. You know,
Yeah,
but
you're
I
too
have
busy.
so much work. I'm just work all the time and trying to do everything very fast to have the time to procrastinate never happens. I just
It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. You just keep at it. You'll get it. You'll get it.
You know, my first comic book in France, I was 1 year late.
Oh wow.
This is next level procrastination.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be me. Yeah, that would be me.
I can't do that anymore. I don't know if this is anymore.
Well, there you go. Nice.
So,
yeah, well, I'm my own employer now. You know.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing.
What are you like as a boss?
Oh, sorry.
What are you like as a boss? Are you a nice boss or a mean boss?
I'm a horrible boss. I never.
Horrible boss.
I have 8,000 unread emails.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
That's
Nice.
not the most I've seen. The writers that next level. Like I wouldn't want to name names, but I know some writers who have like 50,000 unread mail.
Ooh.
My accountant knows that if he wants me to read his emails, you have to write urgent with like in uppercase.
Like asterisks.
Opening it.
So that's the trick. But what happens when they all are marked urgent? It's like when I used to text people, and it's just like if I want them to text back, I'll just dial 911, which is the U.S. emergency number. So, yeah.
What happens? I don't know. I just get very happy because they all know the trick now.
Nice.
Right. So you were saying before, like your work takes a very long time. It's very time consuming. How long does like one issue take as far as the interior goes?
6 weeks and 3 days.
What?
Well then, nailed it down. Nailed it.
Wow.
It takes
Wow.
6 weeks for me to paint it and 3 days to color it.
Wow.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Well then. All right. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer? So you said you did covers, and then you had. Do you prefer covers or interiors?
Yeah, well, of course I prefer covers. It's like if you ask me, do you prefer candy or vegetables? Of course I prefer the candy. But you cannot live only on candies. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Okay, that's cool. So as an artist, here's a question for you. As an artist, do you have any pet peeves? Well, you already said one, right? When they don't give you the freedom and they don't let you go. So, but other than that, as far as requests from you as an artist, do you have any pet peeves? Sometimes we've heard like when you give too many details. If you want a giant cityscape with 10,000 characters in it, that's hard to do.
God, I hate that so much. Once I had to draw an issue of Spider-Man, and the writer was late. It was like time of the conventions, New York, and everything. And by the time the script arrived, I had like 14 days left to do the issues. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. Like, let's all be realistic. It won't happen. It's like, okay. So they took the script and they gave me another one. And the script I had before was very introspective, so it's really good for me, you know. The second one started literally like this. So you remember that the city of the Inhumans just fell New York, right? So this is like literally just the moment after New York is in shambles.
Inhumanity,
and,
yeah.
And like a first shot, like spread New York in shambles. Like, oh,
Wow.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Just so many pieces of shrapnel and buildings and stuff.
Oh, look, and I had to download so many horrible pictures as references.
Of course, yeah. I hadn't even thought about that.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I download old pictures, okay, but it was quite recent, you know.
Yeah.
That's so reminiscent. We had a writer on recently, Dicer Joshua, and he was talking about, he wrote some comics about like child soldiers, and so he spent some time taking photos for his artists, and like I would be really, you'd be so worried about what sort of disorders you're giving them by giving them those reference photos, you know, like
Golly, yeah.
hadn't even thought about it.
Kids
So
love
now-
love, you know.
That's
That's
it.
terrible, but that's true.
Yeah, balance it out. Far
Yeah.
out. I want to know what comic books you read growing up. What got you into comics? What got you into
So
that?
I have a complicated history with comic books. I grew up in a very, very small village. We were 600 people there.
Wow.
Wow.
That's super small.
Wow.
And my mother had the habit when she was going to the small supermarket to just drop me at the book station, and like, you know, I was on the floor with a pile of books, and she would just take me back when she was finished. That was that kind of strange period in life, the area where you could leave children unattended. In
Sure. Yeah.
The 80s.
Right.
Different time, yeah.
So, because it was a very small place, of course, there weren't a lot of options for comic books. I had like the French things, you know, what's the name? The Smurfs, and a lot of things by author you've never heard about, I'm pretty sure. So all this was like for up to maybe 10 or 14 at most, I would say. So in my mind, I had associated that to childhood, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't think that there would be an adult version of comic books. But in the same time, my father, he used to buy like French reviews. I think it was called Strange, in which there were like 4 each month, 4 issues from Marvel. There was like Iron Man, the West Coast Avengers, and New Mutants,
Cool.
and a French thing, because with the French publication they needed to be one French thing. And I used to read that to the patient until I was 10, and I think that was the moment where Bill Sienkiewicz had his run on the New Mutants, which was my favorite, and I was way too young to love it. It's like, what's happening? And I just stopped reading at that moment comic books, because it was like that kind of drawing was not for me at all. And then I grew up, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I met some people along the way. One of them was one of my first roommates, and she was like, "Oh, what was your kind of drawing? You should do comic books." And I was like, "What, the Smurfs?" And and she gave me like French, very adult comic books. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is," and Calvin and Hobbes too. So, like, oh, this is interesting. And so I spent the next year. There is a kind of Barnes and Nobles in the city I used to live at the moment, and I used to go there every day. It was another era again. You could, at that moment, if you were very motivated, read every comic book that has ever been published, because there were only like 800 a year.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it took me a year, but
Nice.
I would go there around 5 and stay there for 2 or 3 hours. Like, well,
That's
Nice.
incredible.
Nice.
What's your collection like these days?
Oh, not a lot, because when I was traveling, of course, I couldn't. I developed a hate for anything heavy.
Yeah.
So I have like comics and old things that have been with me for a very long time, but I don't buy books anymore.
Nice.
It's just so heavy. Even now, with even only the comics, there are like 11 boxes of just comics. And they are very big boxes. It's just so heavy. So
It's too much.
It really is. And there is also that thing that when you start doing comic books as a job, I think you don't read them the same way. You look at it like it's a job. So I'm pretty sure when I will be done with Die, I will go back to read comics. But for now, I just want to fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but, I have old school things. I have like the Watchmen and the Dark Knight and like the Batman Year One is a very good one. Oh, Red Sun is excellent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most of my books are mostly that kind of books, like photo references for artists.
Yeah, nice.
Got it.
Do you like Mobius?
Yeah, of course, Jean Giraud.
Right. Jodorowsky, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And Mobius. That's
I have a story about Mobius. Yeah. That's really stupid story. I used to do a lot of French conventions, and you meet a lot of very old school artists. And one of them told me that when he was younger, and Mobius was really famous in France, like they used to go in restaurants, and one of them would just draw a floating rock over a desert and pretend they were Mobius to have free diner.
Great.
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try and be Banksy.
Yeah, just be Banksy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. Cool.
What's the comic book scene like in France? Like as far as the fandom goes, is it pretty big?
Well, it depends. It really depends. Like recently with all the movies, there are more people interested, but they are mostly interested in the cinematic universe. It's like in America. It's like it's not really bringing more readers. Like maybe a bit, not as much as you would have believed when they started.
Interesting.
Of course, there are a lot of French comic books readers, but it's very difficult. Honestly, there are like I think 8,000 new comic books each year. So it's very, very difficult for artists to make a living out of it. And because there are so many new books. How can I say? The readers it didn't develop as much as the numbers, the numbers of books were like this, and the amount of readers was like this.
I see.
That's interesting. And then the amount of books that are available now, we actually just got done talking about that, it's intimidating to people. So even people who might want to, they go in, they're like, this is too much, and they walk away from it. Yeah.
Even the librarian, I cannot read all this anymore. And there was time where you could go and they were like, oh yeah, they could give you the story of each book, and they cannot do that anymore.
Nice. So here's me pretending to be artistic here, but do you have like a muse? Do you have like, if you find yourself like stuck creatively, is there anything you do to kind of get out of that rut?
I have a guitar. I don't know really how to play it, but I try.
Okay, so kind of gotta just get art out of your head for a little bit. Pretend.
Oh yeah. I have friends. I try to have a life. It's not that easy, honestly, because I work so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the guitar helps. Like for a while, it was pastry. I was doing pastries, like very big ones.
Oh.
But I don't do that anymore. I don't have an oven anymore. I don't want to cook anymore. It's too much time, and really I don't have time. But usually I just travel a lot, which I cannot do anymore for now. But I go at least once a year in Japan, maybe Singapore, and this is really a way to breathe, like a real break from life as you know it. And I spent a lot of time in Japan. I think overall almost at least a year, and so I just go there and I have a lot of friends there. I have neighborhoods that I like, and I just slide back in this kind of life that I had for a while, and I pretend that it's not really like having a parallel life. And this is what I do when I really need a break, but it's a big break.
Yeah, I bet. Seems like it. I'm just gonna move.
Yeah, that's it. It sounds like. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No. It's really an incredible privilege to have the experience of another life.
Yeah.
And I am. When I live in Kyoto, I go to the public bath almost every day, and I stay in the at the cafe and I read things until midnight, which I cannot do there because there are only bars people like to drink, but they don't like coffee after 7.
What? What kind of life is that?
I really like to hang out outside. I'm an introvert, but I like being outside, and it really pains me to not be able to just stay in a nice armchair and looking at the life. I just love
That's a dream.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super busy. You've got a lot on the boil at the moment. But when you get some free time, what other nerdy hobbies do you like to do? Like apart from art, do you like to watch TV? Do you like to read books?
Oh yeah, I go through so many TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do a lot of reruns because I always watch them on the side while I'm working. So I keep the good ones for when I have time.
Anything we would have heard of, or are they all French?
No, it's mostly American.
Oh, okay.
When I was able to really watch things, I used to watch a lot of Korean dramas, which were very, very cool too.
Yeah.
But I cannot do that anymore because I cannot read the subtitles and draw at the same time.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Right.
either French or American or English. Anyway, this time I'm rewatching Psych. I really love this.
Oh, okay.
series.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not very clever TV show, but it's funny
fun.
and yeah, it's good when you because when it's too interesting, I don't draw anymore.
That's right. That's right.
It's gotta be a little bit boring.
That's the way I am with studying and music. Like, it can't be music I really like, because then I'll start singing or something. It has to be background music. So.
Yeah. Or it can be something I already watched just
Yeah.
because I have very good memory, so I can just listen to it, and it's okay. I did I watched recently. I think I've seen 3 times. Was it the book from Douglas Adams, the detective, the holistic detective, Doug Gently.
Oh, yeah, Duck
Yes.
Gently. That's
Oh.
so good. Yeah. It's so funny.
I
Yeah.
really
So-
love it. There is nothing I don't like in this TV show. Really, I can
Yeah.
rewatch it, and it's always gonna be a joy.
Ooh, amazing. I
Awesome.
would love to see you illustrate some Douglas Adams work. I can imagine that. That would be so
Yeah.
cool.
I really love.
Yeah.
I read Neil Gaiman wrote a book about Douglas Adams.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's good. Yeah.
So, Stephanie, this is our last question. Do you have any plans or ambition to write or script any books in the future, or are you mostly just looking to remain with the sequential art?
I actually do. Like every comic artist has a big project that it will never write. But I do. Mine is called The Albino and the Pale Horse. And
Yeah.
I think it's a good story, but it's a very ambitious one. I've talked to Kieron about helping me writing it. It's actually more than just an idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say,
Great.
say,
I would love to see that.
say the title one more time.
The Albino and the Pale Horse.
Interesting.
that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm
Well,
intrigued.
well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Stephanie Hans, artist extraordinaire. Thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us a little bit of your time. You got any? We usually ask this question. Do you have anything outside of Die that you would like to talk about or promote quickly or want people to know about? Any other projects?
No time. Oh, yeah, in October, when I actually have the break after issue 15, I will do a sort of maybe mini convention or something, like private thing I'm thinking about inviting other people to do it with me, to have like some kind of panels or something. But
Oh, yeah.
in October, we'll do that.
Like an online thing? It'll be online or?
It's gonna be online.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's gonna be the moment. If you want a commission from me, there will be absolutely no other moments before I travel again.
Got it.
Ooh,
Got it.
it's
You
very
heard it.
tempting.
All right.
Smart.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Don't forget to wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay socially distanced. Take care.
Follow our links and
Thanks,
watch
Stephanie.
our show
Thank you.
because you want to and not because of the threats. Thank you for watching Judah, Robo, and Ree. We talk about comics, movies, and TV. Sometimes we have notable guests, and sometimes it's just us. But we're also cool.